Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to do a recap of the Osoyoos tournament, which was July 20th, 2024, and we had 33 anglers and a beautiful sunrise. We're about to head out and embark on our launch here. And I initially stopped at a spot that I thought was where I wanted to start, and I realized I was in the wrong place. When I got to the spot that I actually did want to fish, Chris Glover was there already, but he and I worked it out, and I went about 100 yards north of him and started my day there. My two successful techniques during practice were fishing a jig and trolling. Those are the two ways that I caught big fish. And I thought, well, the sun's still low in the sky. It might be a good idea to fish with a jig just to get started. So that's what I did. I parked myself over an area that was had some low weeds and fished the jig probably for 20 minutes. I didn't spend a whole lot of time at it, wasn't getting any bites. Decided that I'm going to stick with my initial idea, which was just troll until you get 5, because that's the way that I caught the vast majority of my fish was trolling a crankbait. So that was my idea, and that's what I did. Now, I mentioned it in the practice video that, and I'll link that up above and probably in the description as well. I knew where I was going because I had mapped out the depth on the lake all throughout here, and there was a huge switchback here. I'm actually going back towards the launch at this point, but I was right on that probably 13-foot depth where I was trolling, and I wasn't trolling more than 5-10 minutes, I think, before this happened. I said, oh, look at that. That looks like a bite. And it was. This is the biggest fish I caught the entire day. Not to spoil it for you, but this was the biggest fish I caught the entire day. I think I mentioned it in a previous video that these fish are like next level fighters. Man, they really pulled hard, quite ambitious. And I wasn't the only one to notice. A bunch of people mentioned it. These fish were really quite strong in their fighting. And here I am, you can see doing really bad habits, not choking up on the rod and pulling the fish's head out of the water. And that will come back to bite me. Later on in the tournament here. This is a 16 plus fish. I'll show you a picture of it here in a second. Yeah, I was pretty thrilled. This is my first fish. So a decent fish to start out the day with. I was pretty happy with that. I'd also like to mention that I have never gotten 5 fish in a tournament. And so for this tournament, my sole goal is just to get 5 fish. I have no illusions that I'm going to place in this tournament. And so really all I wanted was to catch 5 fish. And that was a big deal to me. And this is the first one. Very happy. So I finally get that fish measured. It took me 7 or 8 minutes to get that fish measured. And as I'm getting ready, I get all my gear checked. I'm going to start trolling. And I want to go back through that same section, pick up another fish. And I look up, and right exactly where I was, that guy right there is sitting exactly on that spot. And so don't do that if you're in a tournament. I think he did this by accident, to be perfectly honest. But if you're in a tournament, don't horn in on somebody's spot that they just caught a fish on, particularly if they float off of the spot while they're measuring a fish. It's just really bad for them. All right, moving on. So I'm trolling north on the lake here, and I don't know, something didn't look quite right on the end of the rod here. It didn't look like it was wobbling correctly. Maybe it wasn't moving fast enough. I don't know what it was, but I started reeling it in, and as I'm reeling it in, so wait, oh, something happened there. I caught a fish. So this is going to be my second fish right here. Now, by the looks of the bend in that rod, this looks like a pretty nice fish. I'm sure you all would think that. It is not. This is not a big fish at all. These guys, I'm telling you, they pull, you know, way above their weight. Notice how I expertly used my net to pull that fish in. No, it wasn't worth the net. All right, as I switch camera views here to the chest camera, I want to point out a couple things. First off, that little flip thing there is how I keep track of how many fish I have, which is ironic and funny as we move forward. You'll see why. But this is obviously the second fish. I flipped it to 2. This was my second fish.
Once I get
and you can see the reflection on the scorecard, or on the ID card there. That doesn't show up when I take a photo, but it is something to watch out for. That's something that you do want to be concerned about.
I can't believe it. Okay, 12.5 inches. We're gonna take it.
So I continue to troll north along that same 13-foot depth, and I hit something else.
Wow, look at that. That's a nice one. I thought I hit something, and I did. I hit a friggin' perch. You stupid idiot. God.
Bycatch when you're trolling is always a problem, and as I'm trolling, I feel this other bump on the line. So
it feels like I got another stupid perch or something on there. I don't know. Nope, I don't. Just some weeds. Oh. I don't know how many of you know what that is right there. That is a carp scale. I hit a carp and I yanked a scale off him. Off you go. That would have been a fun fight if I'd have gotten that snagged. We've been here for 20 minutes. That's a fish. There. I don't know how big it is, but it's a fish. He's not going to make 12.
I don't know if you saw what I did right there, but I have a mark on my pedal drive cover that is 12 inches, so I can ID the fish length real quick.
Okay.
Now I know hindsight's 20/20, but there's a couple things that happened in these last couple sequences. One is that I caught a fish when I was reeling it in, which means that I wasn't presenting the lure fast enough. And in this case, I'm raising my arm up like that so that I can keep the lure from diving too deep and getting in the weeds. So, and I caught a hit when I was doing that. So that's an indication that they're probably more shallow than I was previously fishing for them. So when you're doing this stuff, pay attention to what happens. The fish are telling you what they want. They wanted a faster lure and they wanted it shallower. So there you go.
Hey, Chris.
Chris makes a comment here about me trolling and that he was doing the same thing.
Yeah, big surprise.
We've had conversations in the past about how we always troll between one spot and the next, and that we both enjoy trolling as a technique. So.
Looks like a 14, 15 incher maybe. Yeah. Oh no, I got a 16 and a 12.5 too. I just want to get the 5 first, and then I'll start head hunting.
I lost the nice one right at the boat.
Oh, that so sucks.
I net it, and I net my jig, and fish flopping on the side of the net.
Yep. Ooh, I don't know. This one's just 12. That's okay. I'll take them. Nah, he's going to measure. Yeah. Good luck. Get all your frustrations out here, fish. I don't want you flopping all over Sikkim when I'm trying to take a picture of you. Got it? Here. What did I just tell you? I said don't do that. And then you go and do it anyway.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with these fish. They never listen to anything that I tell them. He was particularly rambunctious, but we did get his picture taken, and yep, we're going back to trolling. Periodically, I just pull my lure in just to make sure it's not fouled with weeds as a check, and when I pause the line, a fish took it.
Well, I'll be darned. Got another fish on. And he picked it up when I was pulling it in, which is indication that's 2 fish now that have done that. Means I'm not going fast enough. Slightly better fish, I think. Slightly. No, not a massive fish at all. I think that's good. You can go.
I think at this point I should probably mention that on the far north pool, there was a really big point there and a pretty deep section of the bay, and I saw a lot of bait fish balls in that area and a lot of bass feeding on them. And I thought that was probably my best location to catch the big bass. So I had 4 fish. I figured I'm just going to go for big ones at this point. So just as I enter this bay, I hook into something. Something hammers this thing. It's a big fish. I can tell right away it's a big fish. I may not look at here because it's swimming towards me, but I can tell it's still on the line, and I knew it was a huge fish. It was just absolutely massive. Now, I'm not including the audio with this because there's a little bit of foul language involved, but if you want to see the replay of this with all of the audio and all the information, there'll be a link in the upper right hand corner here. You feel free to click on that. You can right click it and open a new tab, so you don't lose this video. It's a good show. Now, you heard me mention earlier, shouldn't pull a fish's head out of the water when you're trying to net it. Should choke up on the rod and let the fish stay underwater if that's what it wants to do. They don't shake and jump and stuff when you do that. But if you pull them up out of the water, they'll jump and shake, and a lot of times they'll throw the hook. And this is what happens when you're netting the fish. And here's a perfect example of it right here. And there he goes. And this is about where I strike the pose of disappointment. There it is. Yeah, I said first one, and the others more big fish to be lost. I'm good at it, so stick around. It's a lot of fun. And while we're at it, let me just say that at the end of the video here, I'll have a summary of all the things that happened in the tournament and give you some idea of things that I learned, and hopefully that'll help you with your tournament experiences. And it'll help me document it for future reference when I watch this video again. And hey, now's a great time to hit the like button if you like this content, and if you aren't already, please subscribe, and feel free to share this with anyone you'd like. Well, I appreciate you. All right, let's continue on. There's more fish to be caught. After fishing with a jig for probably 45 minutes, I convinced myself that this was the way to do it, and so I started trolling again. And this is right off the point here. There's a large island that's a submerged island, and it ranges between 8 and 22 feet, and then it drops off quite a bit. And there were big fish out there on that island. But it had been fished quite a bit, but the fish were still biting, and I had a big one on here, and of course it got off. And what I noticed was that it just buried itself in the weeds, and off it came. I just couldn't get it out of the weeds.
Son of a... I just lost another one. Yeah, I had another big one on.
Big one?
It was a big one. It was at least 18. I don't know how big it was because I never got him out of the weeds, but...
After I lost that really big fish, then I proceeded to lose 3 more on this island section. So it was a pattern.
What in the hell was that caught on? Whatever it was caught on, it gave loose.
Yeah, adding insult to injury, I lost my lure on that one as well. Lucky for me, I paint my own, so I had another one that was nearly identical to it, and I was going to need it. Okay, at this point, let me point out that at 7:30 a.m., I had caught my 4th fish, and I spent the rest of the day trying to catch big fish. I lost 4 of them, and never did put one in the boat, which was really quite frustrating, but it got to be about 11:30, 11:45, and needed to be off the water by 1:15, or lines out at 1:15, and I knew that I had to get back, so I thought, well, I better start trolling back, and I got almost 2/3 of the way, well, more than 2/3 of the way back, and I still had not caught a fish. So at this point, I'm like, oh my God, if I gotta get it 5 fish, I gotta get a bite here. Please, 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 let me get a bite here. And sometimes the planets align, because yeah, I got a bite. It's unbelievable.
Indicate that it's a pretty good sized fish. We'll see. I think it's a keeper. Holy shit, I think it might be a keeper. Yeah, it's pretty sure that's 12 inches. Some touch and go there. I don't know, maybe it isn't. We'll have to see. Gotta get this thing out of here.
Woo! What a relief. I got my 5 fish, and so I settled in here to start submitting my fish, and as I was going through it, I started getting confused, and I couldn't figure it out. I had 2 fish that were 12.5 inches, and then one was caught right after the other, and within a couple of minutes of each other, and so the timestamps all looked like one fish, and I had completely discounted my whole flip number system where you could see it in the photo, 3 and 4, but I managed to convince myself that I had only caught 4 fish, and I'm starting to freak out at this point because it's 1 o'clock. By the time I get these fish submitted, it's 1 o'clock. I got 15 minutes to catch a fish and take a picture of it and get it submitted. Well, actually, just to get a picture taken of it, because you have extra time to submit it. So in my state of confusion and freaking out, I decided I just got to go catch another fish. I got to quit farting around here. I got to get trolling again. And I just spent like 6 hours trying to catch that one little 12-incher. So yeah, I'm starting to really freak out here. And then what added to my stress is as I'm paddling along here, and I'm just, following the 12 to 13 feet of water here, I noticed that in front of me, there's like people swimming right where I need to go. And I'm like, oh man, I got like 100 feet. And by the time I get out around them and reposition back on the right depth of water, it's probably going to be too late. I probably won't be able to get that fish. And so I'm pretty much resigned myself at this point that I'm not going to catch a fish. And so as I get almost parallel with these swimmers, I actually do get a bite, and I do catch a fish.
All right, we got a fish. Okay, I got 5 minutes to get this fish submitted. This one for sure is a keeper. Kind of starting. Yeah. Is 13. Stupid thing. Fuck. Okay, camera.
Talk about last minute heroics here. This fish was photographed at 1:12, so it was 3 minutes to spare. Okay, I did get the 5 fish submitted. Now, one of the fish that I submitted was that 12-incher in lieu of the 12.5-incher that I had. So technically I lost out on a half an inch, but it didn't matter because from the standing standpoint, there wasn't anybody close either way. So I would have been exactly in 21st place either way. So I got 21st place out of 33, and again, I didn't care. I got 5 fish. That's the first time I'd ever been able to do that, and I was just absolutely thrilled. All right, stick around. We're going to have a 2 or 3 minute summation about what happened from the chair in the backyard, and then we'll wrap this all up and let you guys get on with your day. Hi guys, thanks for sticking around for the synopsis. So as promised, this is what I got for you. So my goal, obviously, for this tournament, as mentioned in the video, is to catch 5 fish. And I did that, and so I'm thrilled with the outcome of the tournament. That was fantastic. I got those 5 fish. One of the things that I have been doing is over the last 2 or 3 years is I've been tracking how often, when I go fishing just for fun, how often do I catch 5 fish that are keepers. And prior to this year, it was never, not once, ever. So I don't know why I had any expectation I'd be able to do it in a tournament. It was ridiculous. But this year, I think I've spent somewhere between 25 and 45% of the time that I've gone out, I have caught 5 fish. So obviously I'm getting better at catching fish, and now I should have an expectation that once in a while I should be able to do it in a tournament. In this case, it was a great lake, lots of fish. I caught some big ones. I caught 2 19-inchers in practice, so I'm thrilled with the lake, and I plan on going back as often as I can. So generally speaking, the whole experience was a big success, but I could have done better. So this is what I noticed in retrospect that I could have done better with. Obviously, the netting issue, choke up on the rod, don't pull the fish's head out of the water, and they'll tend not to jump as much. And that should put a lot more fish in the boat. So you should practice that. I plan on practicing that because I want it to be second nature. When I catch a big fish, I want to just do all the right things like I would do on every fish. Okay, so the other thing was that the fish I was hooking but not getting in the boat were and in every case I went back and looked, they had all lost me in the weeds. So they had dove down into the weeds. And the guy that won the tournament was doing a lot of the same things that I was doing. He was trolling and catching fish in generally the same areas that I was. And he had even told me, hey, Pat, use a jerkbait, which was really super nice of him. But I didn't like the jerkbaits that I had, and I didn't have any confidence in them, so I hadn't done that. But here's the thing. A jerkbait runs a lot more shallow. It doesn't dive as deep. So you would have had a chance if the fish took that lure to keep them out of the weeds. And I didn't do that. And the equipment, frankly, that I was using wasn't strong enough or heavy enough to keep them out of the weeds had I recognized that that's what the problem was. So I could have done 2 things. I could have used a shallower running lure, and I could have used some heavier equipment. But both of those are predicated on the idea that I would have been able to recognize that the reason I was losing the fish is they were getting in the weeds. And I didn't come to that conclusion until I had a chance to step back, think about what was going on, and evaluate. And I didn't do that during the tournament, and that's really what you got to do if you want to be successful, is you have to recognize what's going on. That's why I point out a lot of this stuff in the videos, because I think it should help me reviewing those videos in the future, and certainly I hope it helps you improve your skills in tournament fishing. So that's what I could have done. I think that would have made a big difference, that I recognized all that, but that's part of the maturation process. You gotta review this stuff as you're doing it, and that's what will make you better in your tournaments that you fish. All right, that's all I got for you. Please like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment. If you can write a comment, that makes a big difference in the algorithm. So appreciate it. If there's anything you'd like to see me do more of, would you like to see me remove from the videos, any of that stuff, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to get all the feedback I can get. All right, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.